Nobody indeed. What is good? Welcome into Driving the Line show number 2. And look, man, I'm just going to turn my camera off. All we need is the man right here on the right, Big Johnny Bowman. My brother, I missed you, buddy. How we doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Thanks for bringing me back. It's, probably my most exciting day of the year. Day before regionals. Got a lot going on. Very excited to be on.
Dude, I'm excited to have you on. And I know that everybody else is too, man. This is the best time of the year. Abso-freaking-lutely. All right. Everybody in the crew, welcome in. Most of you all know John Bowman, but for all the new folks, if you don't, all right, let me introduce my man right here. You can see him. Look at that beautiful mug, smiling, looking good. Arguably the best college baseball bettor in the country. And look, no pressure there, buddy. No, I'm just kidding. He is fantastic, though. My man has worked in college baseball. He's worked in Major League Baseball, and we work together at CBS Sports and more. Follow him right here at on X at John Bowman 11, TikTok, Instagram at Baseball with Bowman, and Dub Club. We can find all of his fantastic work. Support our man right there. You can find him, John Bowman, right there. So, buddy. All right, we got that out of the way. And again, look, I'm going to try to get it where we have 9 different pictures of you just on the screen. I know that you want that for sure. All right, what we're going to do is break down college baseball. The regionals are here. All right, you can see it. We're going to go through, get our picks on said regionals and also games as well. So we're going to have some fun here with it. Let me go ahead and get mine up first, because everyone has seen these before, so I won't spend much time at all. Florida State to win the regional. I've got Oregon State to win the regional. UC Irvine to win their regional, plus 310. Clemson to win their regional, plus 135. Arkansas and Oregon parlayed to win their regionals, minus 105. Check your books. Some allow to parlay these, some don't, right? I got these at DraftKings. I believe ESPN Bet is another one that allows you to, but we've seen in the chat that some folks have not been able to. So make sure to check your books. Shop your books as well. Big time to do that. Texas and LSU to both win their regionals at plus 105. And then North Carolina and Vanderbilt to both win their regionals at plus 110. Jay-Z Soldier, super sticker, $5. Jay-Z, my man, bro. Dude, this twice today. You are, I swear, look, me and Boba are going to both come over, look, and throw you. Dude, you want to go soft toss, long toss? We'll throw you BP, whatever you want, brother. Appreciate you, man. Cannot say thank you enough. All right, so you guys have all seen these picks. Get that out of the way. All right, Bowman, we're going to go through the regionals. We're going to go through the games, but let's go ahead and get the picks up on the screen first, and I'll throw it over to you. What you got, buddy?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, first, I love a lot of your plays. There were a bunch that I was also on, but I figured I'd go with some plays that, you didn't already put up there for redundancy purposes. I also wish I got in on these a lot earlier, right? Because some of these odds have gone flying up, but I like Vanderbilt and Tennessee to win their regionals. I think those are 2 of the easiest regionals. I've got my notes right here, but Tennessee, Wake Forest, Cincinnati, Miami of Ohio. I think Cincinnati's a solid team. They've got Nathan Taylor as their ace, but their pitching really falls off after those first couple guys. Wake Forest, I'm not a big believer in. I mean, they can hit sometimes, but they really don't have much pitching. They really struggle with walks. I think that regionals for Tennessee to lose. National regionals, Louisville, ETSU, and Wright State, along with Vandy. Wright State, I mean, I think we've talked about them before. They're sneaky good. They just got a tough matchup in Vandy in round 1, but I'm not a big believer in Louisville whatsoever. ETSU is a solid team, but they really don't have much pitching. So I really like Vanderbilt in that regional. We've also got Ole Miss to win their regional. This is one of my favorite plays. It's Georgia Tech, Western Kentucky, and Murray State in that regional with Ole Miss. I mean, Ole Miss, we saw them in the SEC tournament. They weren't really able to hit. They just had unbelievable pitching, but they have Hunter Elliott going. He led them to the College World Series a few years ago. He's back in pitching well. Murray State's a solid team, their first team, but once again, tough matchup for them. But I'm just not a big believer in Georgia Tech and Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky needed a bunch of comeback wins in their conference tournament to make the tournament. Georgia Tech, they've got a good start, or a good ace in Tate McGee, but after that, it's really bare with their pitching. Then we'll go to some game plays. Cincinnati, like I mentioned earlier, Cincinnati on the money line. Nathan Taylor, their ace, very good pitcher, and this team can hit. So that combined, like I said, their pitching really falls off after the first couple guys, but still really like Cincy there because of that ace. Then we'll go to Oklahoma State on the money line. I believe they're playing Duke. I love this play. Oklahoma State sneaky has an amazing rotation. Harrison Bodendorf, forgot the name of their second guy, but then they also have Sean Youngerman, who's got like a low 2-something on the season. So they're built to make it through this type of format. I wouldn't be surprised if they make it out of that regional. I think that's an unreal value play there. Kansas State on the money line. Who are they playing again? Let's see. I've got my notes next to me, but obviously got to scroll through 16 things to find this. They are playing UTSA. UTSA got dog walked by Tulane twice in that conference tournament, roll wave. And, I think Kansas State, their bats, they can get hot. They're a very hit or miss team. So I like them at plus money in that play. And then UC Irvine against Arizona State. I'm a big Irvine guy. I think that regional is absolutely wide open. I think it's the most wide open regional with Arizona State, UC Irvine, and UCLA. So, UC Irvine's been great all season. I'm not as big of a believer in Arizona State. So I like UC Irvine as dogs there as well.
Dude, I absolutely love it. Now, I am 1,000,000% with you on a lot of this. And let me explain the Oklahoma State, because I'm on the other side on Duke here, but it's kind of a running thing that we have with the show. I feel you big time. I mean, look, I took UC Irvine to win the regional at plus 310. I'm with you. Look, UC Irvine is kind of like Vanderbilt, like not Vanderbilt the last month because they've been on fire, but like UC Irvine has pitching. They have hitting. They're not afraid to win games 3-2, but it scares you at times too, because you're like, Jesus, if we could just get a little bit of run support, like a little insurance, we'd feel great. You feel like Paul Skeens this year with the Pirates. You're like, dude, I just went 9 innings and gave up 1 hit and lost. How the hell did this happen? You know what I mean? But I'm with you there. Dude, Jay-Z Soldier gifted a detailed membership as well. Brother, you are on fire. Man, thank you. Unbelievable. Thank you, man. And look, got it right there. Rue, welcome to the crew. Welcome to the crew indeed. Now, all right, so Bowman, great job there. All right, my picks, and these are all game ones when you see the money lines, because obviously we don't have Saturday games yet because we don't know who wins and loses. But UCLA money line, NC State money line, I'm going to put those two together, minus 125. Duke going up against Oklahoma State. Now, here's the deal. So, Bowman, all year long, you know how we used to say for years that Texas, win or lose, they were guaranteed to score a damn run in the first inning. They did it all the time. Duke is that team, except they give up 4 runs in the first inning. Now, they are they have screwed us over 1,000 times this season. But I do like the way that they ended the year. All right. I like the way that they played in the conference tournament. And we remember last year where Duke was a big favorite coming in and they got dropped. I believe it was I think it's Florida State. I could be wrong on that, but I mean, they just went completely gone. Right. So I'm going to take the shot here at Duke. Now, they've screwed me every single time that I've bet them. So put your money with Bowman on Oklahoma State there, but I've got to do it just to see. All right, now Nebraska money line. I kind of dig this Nebraska team, and I kind of don't dig this Oklahoma team. Oklahoma's good. They've got pitching. They can play games that are tight. We've seen it all year long. But I like the way that Nebraska ended the Big Ten. They won the conference tournament. Now, again, I don't put all of my stock into who wins and loses conference tournaments, but I do like teams that are just playing good and hitting the ball. And Nebraska's doing that right now. And Oklahoma, look, man, they could come out and smoke Nebraska. Fine. But I don't like the body language. I don't like anything that's gone on with Oklahoma baseball. Give me Nebraska, man. The boys are having fun. Absolutely excited to watch that one. And then Louisville, look, you nailed it right there. All right. This region, and I'll tell you what, we're going to roll right into the region because I want to start right there. Okay. So we've got Louisville. You can see it. All right. I'll get back to this tweet in just a second. So we're going to hit the 16 regionals. We'll go quick. We're not going to spend it, too terrible much time. But we're going to talk about some games, some matchups, potential Saturday matchups, Sunday matchups, some pitching stuff that might get down. B-Mill says, do we know if the good Witherspoon is pitching for Oklahoma? Yeah, good question.
So, let me cut you off there, AB. So
another
on that Nebraska play, Oklahoma, they are going with a Witherspoon, but not the Witherspoon that we're thinking of. They're going with Malachi Witherspoon, not Kyson Witherspoon, Kyson's brother. Kyson has been, if not the best pitcher in the nation this year, one of the best pitchers in the nation this year. Oklahoma is choosing to save him for a potential UNC matchup. They really don't have too much pitching they can rely on after that. They're going with his brother Malachi Witherspoon in game 1. So I love the value in Nebraska because of that.
There we go. And you know what? Bowman brings up an excellent point, and he is the best with this of what he just broke down, pitching. And you're going to see teams, 1 seeds, maybe 2 seeds, whatever, that look at it like if you're Vanderbilt, we'll start right here in the Nashville region, and these go down on the bracket, left side, then right side, right? So Vanderbilt playing Wright State. Again, we've talked about them. You're right. Vanderbilt, Florida State. These could be teams that sit their number 1 on Friday and say, look, we're banking on we could beat you with our number 2, and we're going to throw our number 1 on Saturday. Because if you get to Sunday and you're 2-0 and you're hosting, you're playing these games at home, buddy, it's going to be brutal to beat you twice, right? Because a lot of these teams are just not going to have the pitching to do it, as you mentioned, right? So good point there. All right, so this Nashville Regional, I took Vanderbilt. We both did to win this one. There are going to be a lot of runs. ETSU, one of the best home run hitting teams in the country, but that's it. You're right. Like their pitching will run out. Louisville is like Louisville football, like Georgia Tech football. If you sleep on them, they'll beat you because they can hit, they can score runs, they can go station to station. They can also put up some stinkers too. That Louisville ETSU game could be fun. And then Vanderbilt Wright State. So we both took Vanderbilt. You broke that down. Any final thoughts you have on that one? In any of the games, any of the matchups?
No, I mean, like you said, tons of runs. None of these teams. I mean, Vanderbilt, obviously more of a complete team. ETSU can hit, not a ton of pitching. Louisville can hit, not a ton of pitching. Wright State can really hit, not a ton of pitching.
These are a lot. Like we'll show the weather here in just a second. I've got it broken down for all the regional spots, and buddy, there's going to be a lot of home runs that are hit in this one. I assure you of that one. And Louisville, not far from Vanderbilt. ETSU, dude, 2 hours from Vanderbilt, right? Like they're right close to Knoxville, with Tennessee. So, yeah, man, there are going to be a lot of runs here. All right, the next one, the Hattiesburg Regional. All right, so I admittedly, here are the 2 questions that I pose to you, because I don't know what to do with this regional. All right. Obviously Southern Miss is hosting, but they're, plus 120 to win it. And the question is Alabama and Miami, because Alabama is one of the best teams in the country, but the last month they've fallen off. Right. And it's runs with them, man. Like when they get going, good luck. And then Miami is like Miami football. Like they could show up and beat you down, or they could score 1 run and give up 13. Whoever wins this Alabama-Miami game on Friday is dangerous if they show up. How do you feel about this one? Does Southern Miss win this? Like, what are your thoughts here on this regional?
Yeah, so I'm on Southern Miss in this regional. They have one of the best pitchers in the nation in JB Middleton. I don't know if he'll go game 1. I assume he will. Southern Miss, I don't remember. I believe it was a couple years ago when they had trouble with Penn. I believe it was Penn in their regional. And they ended up having to go to that last final game to play Penn. And that was a home regional as well. So I think they'll end up going with him in game 1. Maybe they go with one of their other guys because they've got a lot of good pitching at the top of their rotation. They've got like 3-4 pitchers that can really pitch. Then it really falls off. Like you mentioned about Alabama, I mean, they really struggled towards the end of the season. Their lineup went ice cold. They don't really have that ace that they can fall back on. We've mentioned in years past how crucial it is to have a 1 versus 4 seed matchup versus a 2 versus 3 seed, because 2 versus 3 seed, you're definitely pitching your ace. I mean, I guess unless you're Oklahoma, but you're almost definitely pitching your ace. And that's massive. You got to you got to burn your top pitchers, whereas the 1 seeds, they don't necessarily have to do that, or they can go up early and save some guys. So I do like Southern Miss. I think somehow they're still underrated. I really like them to get out of that regional. And then, like you said, Miami, they either show up or they don't. Maybe they do, and they make a bit of a run, but that's very hard to predict.
It's impossible with both of them. Like, and this is the thing, is that if Alabama shows up, if their bats come back to what they were, dude, they could smoke anyone. They could make the College World Series. They're that good. LeBron is that good of a hit. This dude is unbelievable, right? But you just don't know what you're going to get. Like that Alabama-Miami game might as well, like, dude, you're just taking 8 shots of Red Bull. Like, I have no clue what's going to happen. Southern Miss, you're right. You know, they're always a team that's built on pitching. Millsy says that Southern Miss has decently good second pitcher. Look, I remember Tennessee played Southern Miss in the Super Regional, and it was not easy. Like, them boys could go. They've got arms, man. And anybody in the state of Mississippi can play baseball. I swear to God, they've got 50 teams that could go. Also, I love that roll wave you mixed in earlier for Tulane. Love that one. Yeah, this one's tough. Like, this one's tough. Tina, good to see you. Tina says, hey, guys. Tina, always good to see you. TJ, our man, said, look, AB's betting on Duke because they owe money. You're damn right. They do owe us money. That's exactly why. All right, next regional here, Tallahassee, Florida State. The host, I'm kind of surprised that this number is this low because Florida State's bats are alive. Now, their pitching it's not what it was, but it's not terrible. They could give up some walks, but if Florida State's hitting, I mean, good luck to anybody. You've got Northeastern, who is a sneaky good team. You've got Mississippi State. Watch out for them. And then you got Bethune-Cookman. Florida State could be a team that you see. They could rest some pitchers waiting for Saturday. Don't know. But, yeah, I thought over to you, man. What do you see here?
Yeah, like you said, I don't think Florida State's going to – they have Jamie Arnold, who was expected to be one of the best pitchers in the nation, if not the best. He has been really good this season, but he's kind of slowed down a bit. And they also have Joey Vellini, and I'm blanking on their third guy. They have a solid rotation. They just haven't been pitching as well down the stretch. Northeastern's a really good team. This is a team that can pitch. They have tons of pitchers. The only problem is when they face that tough competition, if their pitching doesn't hold up, they don't have too much to fall back on. Mississippi State obviously fired their coach a couple weeks ago, and they've been playing better, but you never know how that's going to affect a team, especially in tournament time. So this is one, you can either play regionals 2 ways. Is one, you really believe in one team and you think they're better than the other 3 teams, or you think the other 3 teams just aren't very good and you think that that one team is going to beat them because of that. I think it's more of that. I think Florida State's, the other 3 teams aren't very good. I mean, Northeastern, if I were to make a play on this, I would go Florida State, but Northeastern is capable of winning these types of games. Mississippi State, they're a solid team. They're not great. They have Pico Cone at the top of their staff, but he's been really hit or miss lately. So I do think this is Florida State's to lose, mainly because they're at home and they usually win these home regionals. But Northeastern's a solid team. Mississippi State's a solid team, but I would lean Florida State in this one.
Yeah, you know, I completely agree with your analysis there because I bet Florida State to win it, and really it's off of 2 things. Number one, the price is fantastic. And number 2, I just don't believe in the other teams. Like, nothing against them. And we could take – I'm not too concerned about Bethune-Cookman. No disrespect. But, I mean, look, Mississippi State, Northeastern can get you, right? Like, they can. But you nailed it on Northeastern. I think they ended the season of like a top 3 team in ERA. They're phenomenal. But you're right. You get the bats going on them. I don't know if they can play that style of game. And I don't think that they want to. So I'm with you, man. Florida State, it's almost betting kind of by default. Like, I think that, like, it's worth the price of admission. If they don't win the regional, fine. But if you're going to give it to me almost at even money at home, I'm going to take it just because I think the talent, you know. But, yeah, Father Whale said it right there. A 27-game winning streak for Northeastern. Like, they're a phenomenal baseball team. Like, there's a reason why, you know, they're listed right up there above Mississippi State. You know what I mean? Like, they're good. But yeah, I'm with you. If you're going to give me Florida State almost even money, I'll take the shot. I'll absolutely. All right. Last regional here, Corvallis, Oregon State. man, this one is interesting. Oregon State, home favorite. You got TCU, you got USC, you got St. Mary's. Don't sleep on St. Mary's, but they're plus 1,800 to win it for a reason. That being said, though, USC had a nice stretch about a month and a half ago. They're hitting the ball very well. That stopped. I don't know how fully much. Like, if it comes back, that's the thing, man, is if it comes back, USC can play with anyone. You see, USC could win this. I don't know what to do with TCU either. Oregon State, I bet them to win it just because they have pitching. I think they just have more talent than everyone else, but I defer to you, man. What do you see here?
Yeah, I mean, Oregon State's a solid team. They're obviously not in the conference this year, which is interesting. You don't have too many teams to kind of compare them to. But playing them at home for their regional is really tough. TCU and USC, they're the type of teams, they both have a good ace. It's Caden Aoki for USC, Tommy Laporte for TCU. Then the pitching really falls off for both teams. They're both going to have to burn those guys in the first game. St. Mary's, I would say, is definitely a live 4 seed. You know, it's not like a Bethune-Cookman who, you know, don't think would have any chance. St. Mary's can hit. They don't have much pitching, but they're capable of an upset. I'm not too high on Oregon State. If I were to make a play in this regional, I would go with TCU. They got hosed a bit in terms of hosting. I don't think they should host, but they thought they should have hosted. This is one I would lean TCU. I don't blame anyone for taking Oregon State either. Like I said, they're very tough at home. I do think if it gets to a super regional, whoever plays Oregon State would have the upper leg, though. But Oregon State in the past, they've had those, you know, top 2 pitchers that they can rely on, and they just don't really have that this year. They've got a few guys that have been decent, but no one that's just been that ace.
Yeah, agreed. Like, Oregon State has played phenomenal baseball at times, and it's for me, it's the run production. It is what scares me, because Oregon State, I mean, they could score, but man, they cannot. Like, they cannot score as well. It's terrible English, but I'm with you. Like, that's a live region right there. Absolutely live. All right, let's jump over to the next one. All right, going down the bracket on the left side. Chapel Hill, North Carolina, minus 260 favorite. Oklahoma, I don't know what to do with them. Nebraska, I mean, plus 750. Like, I think this is North Carolina's to have. They're playing great baseball. They're so talented. They can pitch. They can hit. They're well coached. And then Holy Cross, hey, welcome. Here's some money. I'm going North Carolina here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you. I like North Carolina. Obviously, it's massive news. Oklahoma's not starting their ace, Kyson Witherspoon. Because if they do end up winning that game against Nebraska, they're in the driver's seat, in my opinion. North Carolina has some really good pitching up and down. They've probably got, if not the best, one of the best starting rotations in the nation. 3 guys that can go deep that you can rely on, which is very rare, and that's very coveted in this type of format. In terms of regionals, because they can go to a loser's bracket and still be able to make it and pitch well enough to win, a couple of games on Sunday. But I do like UNC to win this regional. But like I said, if Oklahoma can get past Nebraska in that first game and they have Kyson Witherspoon going against UNC, I would not be surprised to see them get in the winner's bracket and be in the driver's seat. But once again, North Carolina does have the pitching to come back and win, and Oklahoma doesn't have much pitching after Kyson.
Yeah, you're right. In North Carolina, I mean, they're going to be feeling the pressure because they're up there. They're a very, very good baseball team. But that Oklahoma-Nebraska Friday night game or Friday game is going to be very, very telling, because you're right. If Oklahoma pulls that move off, look out. They're very live to do it. That's a big game. All right, next regional here, Eugene. So Oregon, obviously the host of the favorite there, minus 175. Arizona, Cal Poly, 2 and 3 seeds, and then Utah Valley. Utah Valley could score. I mean, I bet Oregon here. I go back to the same thing we talked about in the Florida State regional. Cal Poly's a good baseball team. Arizona can be a good baseball team. I just don't know how much I trust. I think I would trust Cal Poly more than Arizona. But I'm on Oregon. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you. Like I said earlier, there are 2 types of ways to play these regionals. Either you really believe in a team or you don't believe as much in the other 3. This is one I just don't believe as much in the other three. I don't think Oregon is that great of a baseball team. I don't think they've, I don't think the Big Ten in general is very good in terms of baseball. You've got your top teams, which are pretty good, but after that, there's not too much to I guess, base, how good a team is. And Oregon did have some trouble. I mean, they lost a series to Ohio State, one of the worst teams in the entire nation. Arizona, if they can get their pitching, they can play well. Cal Poly is a solid team. They can hit. They've got some pitching. Utah Valley, I swear they go down 5 or 6-0 in the first inning every time they play.
We bet they're over so much.
Yeah. Somehow they'll come back. It'll be 8-6, and then you've got, a game. Then you see if their pitching can hold up. So they can score. They have no pitching whatsoever, but I would lean Oregon as well.
Yeah, Cal Poly's going to come in relaxed and having fun. And that's dangerous when a team is that way. But I'm with you. I took Oregon. Again, it's another one of those. I'll take the shot. Doesn't work, but they're playing at home. And again, Oregon and Oregon State, both their bullpens. I don't trust them as far as I can see, but talent-wise and played at home, it matters. All right, next one, Conway Regional, Coastal Carolina. This one is fascinating. All right, is Florida – okay, a couple questions. Number one, is Florida doing the same thing they did last year? All right, how much do we believe in Coastal Carolina? How much do we believe in East Carolina? And in Fairfield, we played – you know how it is. Like, you don't get every game to bet in the regular season. That's what the books give you. But they can score. They can also give up a bunch of runs here. I don't know. I don't know what to do here. Father Whale says it best. Coastal's pitching staff is legit. It absolutely is. Florida, if Florida loses Friday to East Carolina, they'll lose Saturday. They'll absolutely shut this thing down. But if they get hot, dude, I don't want to see them at all. What are your thoughts on this region?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the most wide open regionals. I mean, Coastal is a very good team. Usually they're built around their hitting. This year they've got unbelievable pitching and they can hit. Florida's a really good team. They've been on a roll since that. It was like an 0-10 start to the SEC, something like that. They kind of did the same thing that they've done 2 years ago, go on a roll to finish the season. They've got they were also very unhealthy. They had a lot of pitchers out. They've got those guys back. ECU, I'm not too big of a believer in. Yeah, they did beat Tulane in that final, which I'm still a little bit upset about. But they don't
throw. Yeah,
they're just not a team that they're a different team this year. They don't necessarily have those top guys that they can rely on.
I feel you. No, not to interrupt you. I feel the same way of ECU that I do with NC State. Like,
yeah,
their name is there for a reason, but I don't know. Sorry, keep going. I interrupted.
No, I agree with you, and I guess we'll get to the NC State in a second, but I would go Florida here. I think Coastal got an awful draw with Florida in their region. They're one of the best teams in the nation, and they got another one of the best teams in the nation as their 2 seed. But it'll be interesting. I mean, Florida has got the pitching depth to be able to, face Coastal and legit face them after they play ECU. And both Coastal and Florida have the pitching to make it through the losers bracket if they make it there. So I would lean Florida, but I'm not betting on that region. I could see it go anywhere.
Anywhere, right? And Florida has the talent to win a national championship. Like, I don't understand what the issue is here with the regular season in Florida, because the last 2 years, especially last year, like we saw it towards the end, they finally started playing, but dude, it took them a while. Same deal this year. All right. Yeah, like you said, man, final regional here on the left side of the bracket, Auburn. You got Auburn, you got NC State, you got Stetson. Shout out TJ and his boy pitching there in Central Connecticut State. I mean, it just feels like how do you bet against Auburn? I mean, that's my thought. What do you see?
Yeah, same idea. I'm just not as high on these other 3 teams. Auburn's a solid team. This is the type of team that I feel like if they get to a super regional and they get a bad matchup, they'll probably lose. If they do make it to the College World Series, I don't think they'll make it very far, but I'm just not high on NC State whatsoever. They've been good in conference play, but I just don't think they're a very good team. I mean, they've got a couple top pitchers. They really don't have much of a bullpen. Their lineup can go totally silent. Their bullpen throws gas, but don't necessarily perform. Stetson, I think, is a good value play here. I mean, they've got really good pitching. They've played some really good teams all season long. So they know what it takes to beat these good teams. I believe they even beat NC State early in the season. I want to say midweek.
They
Might
beat
be
a
wrong.
lot of big teams. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, they're
they beat
good.
a lot of exactly. They've beaten a lot of big name teams, so they know what it takes to win those types of games. I think it's a good value play on Stetson if you're going to play this. I don't totally trust Auburn because I'm not high on them, but if at the number I'd play Stetson. I do think Auburn would win the regional though.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, jumping to the right side of the bracket, Texas region. You got Texas, you got UTSA, Kansas State, and Houston Christian. Really, the only thing that sticks out to me, I'm with you on Kansas State. Absolutely dangerous. If I'm Texas, I don't like two other teams in state that I have to deal with. It's same thing in football, right? Like, I don't want to call anybody little brother, but like, dude, not that I think Houston Christian's taking Texas out, but it matters, and teams like that can just extend games and wear your pitching out. But again, I mean, I think I'm with you in the fact that, like, bet Texas, Kansas State could be dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, Texas is another team where they lost Jared Spencer, one of their best pitchers. He's out for the season, and he was their ace. That's huge for them. It just pushes their rotation back, and they had Ruger Riojas kind of jump in. He didn't pitch well. They kind of been shuffling in since then. Kansas State is the type of team they'll come out and they could look like one of the best 5 teams in the nation, or they could look like they shouldn't even be ranked. And there's really no in between for them. They have the talent to do it. UTSA, like I said, they got dog walked by Tulane 2 games in a row. They're a solid team. They played well, but they don't have much pitching. So if they're not hitting, then they've got a problem. So this is one I'm not as big a believer in the other 3 teams. I do think Texas is going to win it. I do think Texas could make it to like the College World Series, but I don't think they'll end up making a run just because they don't have that pitching depth, and they're a team that's built around their pitching. So I would go Texas here. Kansas State, I do think, is a bit of a dark horse because if they are playing well, they play really well, but I'd still go Texas.
Yeah, and the issue with Texas is, dude, their bats don't show up a lot. Now, they've got the pitching to win and beat you 4-2, but, man, their games are low scoring, buddy, and there's risk involved in that one. All right, next regional here, L.A. UCLA, the host. This thing could go all kinds of ways. I bet UC Irvine to win it. UCLA built on their bats, but watch out for Fresno State, dude. Like, they are live to beat UCLA on Friday. They're absolutely live to do it. But I'm going UC Irvine. What do you see?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. If I had to choose 1 4 seed to win first game, it would be Fresno State in this game. I am not high on UCLA whatsoever. They don't have an ace. They don't have really any pitching that they can go to. I don't think they should have hosted. The only thing is, I mean, in the regional, Arizona State, they were one of the last 4 in. So Arizona State, they have Ben Jacobs, a really good ace, but he hasn't pitched as well this season. The numbers don't really show it. He has a ton of walks that can obviously be a problem for him. UC Irvine, that's why I think UC Irvine is great value, and I know you're on them too, is they're a solid team. They can pitch, they can hit, and I don't think UCLA is very good. Arizona State can no-show. Fresno State might even be a good look, but yeah. I think UC Irvine's got, great value there.
Yeah, UC Irvine they're just good at everything. Like, they can pitch, they can hit, they play tight games, they're well coached. This really all comes down to UCLA's bats. If UCLA's bats show up big, they could smoke everybody. If they don't, dude, Fresno State could put them in the losers bracket Friday. I'm with you. Oxford Regional, Ole Miss. You've got Ole Miss winning this one. I don't have a bet on it. I don't know what to do here. I mean, playing at Swayze, there are going to be Ole Miss fans there. It's going to be packed. It's going to be classic college baseball. Georgia Tech, are they upset about getting snubbed, about hosting? Western Kentucky, all year they've been good, but I don't know how it's going now. They've relied on pitching. They can hit too. And then Murray State, the Racers, baby. They'll put up some runs. Yeah, you're on Ole Miss here. What do you see?
Yeah, I like Ole Miss. Like I said earlier, their bats really worried me in the SEC tournament. I think they scored over 3 runs in one game, and that was against Arkansas, and 4 of those 5 runs were unearned. So obviously that's a massive problem. That being said, if you can pitch well and you've got pitching depth, that won't matter as much in this type of format. So I like Ole Miss here. Western Kentucky, like you said, they can really pitch. That's kind of what got them through this season. But like their conference tournament, they kept going down and down. And if that you're a pitching team and you keep going down, it's really tough to keep scoring runs to come back. Murray State's a solid 4 seed. I think this is just a bad matchup for them. Georgia Tech, like you said, they're pissed that they didn't get hosting. They were the best team in the ACC in the regular season. Usually I don't read into seeing teams too much, but after they announced Georgia Tech as being in this regional, they panned over their team and you just see no one's clapping. You just see them all pissed off. And it wasn't like all right, we're going to show them type of pissed off. It was like, all right, we don't know, we should have had a home regional. We don't know if we can beat anybody type of pissed off. And, I don't like to see that. I want to see a team that thinks they can beat anybody at any time, at any place. And I don't know if I saw that at Georgia Tech. I like Ole Miss in this regional.
Yep, completely agree. Now, last one here in this side, the top right of the bracket. All right, Athens Regional, Georgia hosting. You got Duke. Duke is a dangerous 2 seed. Jesus Christ. Oklahoma State's a dangerous 3 right there. And then Binghamton, hey, take the check. Go have some fun this summer. Look, Georgia, we know they can hit home runs, led the country in home runs. Their park in Athens is like Tennessee. It is built for what they do. But Georgia hasn't played great down the stretch. They fell off. This one's wide open. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Georgia is one of those teams. They're a million times better at home. I think if they were on the road in any sort of regional, I don't know how much of a chance they'd have. They started off with their pitching staff a certain way to begin the season. It did not work out. They've kind of changed things up and made them a lot better. Duke, yeah, they're very dangerous. They've been here before. They're more than capable of winning. Oklahoma State, like I said, they've got an unbelievable rotation. They're the type of team that also, if they make it to the losers bracket, they're going to still be able to make a run. But they didn't have a great season, which is, kind of weird. You would have expected, a lot of people expected them to be hosting a regional right now. So I still like Georgia to win this one. But I do think Oklahoma State's a good value dark horse there.
Yeah, that Friday game between Duke and Oklahoma State is massive. Absolutely massive of a game, especially if one can win and get runs early and you can kind of save your pitching a little bit. Man, that's going to be a big one. Chad M in the chat, my boy, Big Chad. Yeah, Nebraska, Kansas State, Creighton, all. Yes, they are. We're going to talk about those in just a second. Arkansas has their hands full. So a 1,000,000% agreed. All right, and we're going to jump right into that because, Chad, I could not friggin' agree more. All right. We'll get to that one down right at the bottom. That is a brutal regional right there. Baton Rouge, LSU hosting Dallas Baptist. They've been a solid baseball team all year long. We'll see. Rhode Island and Little Rock. I took LSU here. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to beat it. I mean, LSU has everything, right? Like, they're not playing great towards the end of the year, but at the box in Baton Rouge, they've got pitching out the ass. They can hit. It's just going to be brutal to beat them twice on a Sunday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think this is one of the easiest regionals. Like I've said, it's you either don't think the other 3 are very good or you think the one is very good. This is both. I don't think the other 3 are very good. I'm not very high on Dallas Baptist at all. I think them losing their conference tournament also showed a lot. I don't think Rhode Island has a chance. Little Rock definitely doesn't have a chance. This is LSU all the way.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, Clemson Regional. Clemson the favorite there. West Virginia can play. They can hit. Kentucky, I don't know what the hell you're going to get out of them. They were leading with pitching first half of the season, and then it kind of fell off. In USC Upstate. Yeah. I went with Clemson. I don't trust Kentucky by any means. Their bullpen will give up. They could be up 9-1, and that game is not over in the 9th inning. I like West Virginia. I like this baseball team a lot. But it's almost impossible for me not to take Clemson. They could do everything very, very well. I'm kind of surprised that it's plus 135. That this is a good baseball team.
Yeah, I'm with you on Clemson here. To be honest, I'm not too high on them down the stretch. They struggled a little bit, and they don't have too much pitching after their top guy, and Aiden Canuck. West Virginia, they were solid. They have a great record, but they haven't really beaten those top teams. So I don't necessarily know how good of a team that is. Kentucky, I don't think should have made the tournament. They kind of got that SEC bias. Don't think they're a very good team at all. USC Upstate's a good team, though. They can hit. They've got some solid pitching. So I wouldn't be terribly surprised if they end up winning that game. But I think Clemson at home is gonna be the play.
Yeah, I mean, look, USC Upstate's plus 550. Yeah, look at the other. I mean, Rhode Island plus. I'm not comparing the two, but I mean, you see it like USC Upstate's plus 550 for a reason. You know what I mean? Clemson's not minus 300 for a reason. So I'll be there. Knoxville Regional, Tennessee. Let me just say this. If anybody isn't familiar, Tennessee's ballpark, look, I don't say this negatively. I played on a high school field that was about the same size as Lindsey Nelson. It's beautiful. It's on a mountain, and you got wind and humidity all weekend. This region, there's going to be runs galore. Just takeovers, man, like in all of these games, right? Tennessee, as of right now, they're saying they're going to stick with their rotation to have Liam Doyle throw on Friday against Miami of Ohio. Tennessee's problem is that they haven't hit in a month. But, again, playing at home, there's talent. Tennessee has talent with anybody. Wake Forest, Cincinnati, that's going to be a big game on Friday. What do you see here, man?
Yeah, I'm like I said earlier, I'm not very high on Wake Forest this year.
No.
They don't have that ace that they can go to that they've had in the past. Logan Lunsford was their ace. They had to move.
Burns ain't walking through that door.
What?
I said Chase Burns ain't walking through that door.
Yeah, exactly. And, they've had, or Red Lauder, like they've had those top guys, to get them through these spots. They don't have that top guy this year. And then their bullpen, they have a ton of walks in that bullpen, and that's a problem. Like I said, Cincinnati is a great ace, Nathan Taylor. I think that's what carries them here. But I think this is Tennessee's to lose. I mean, they haven't been playing their best. Liam Doyle hasn't been pitching his best, but I just don't think those other three teams are going to be able to match up with Tennessee.
Yeah, I agree. If there any team that I would take, be Cincinnati.
Yeah.
If you were looking to just take a shot, I've got $5 in my pocket. I just want to take a shot. Cincinnati plus 750 could be your, because if Tennessee just goes ice cold, Cincinnati, they're very good enough to take it. But I'm with you. I mean, if Tennessee just shows up normal, they should be able to handle. They should be able to get to Sunday, right? And it could be just too much to take them. I don't know how to do. If they win it and getting supers against Arkansas, that could be brutal. But yeah, all right. Last one there, and what our man Big Chad was saying, dude. I don't know what to do with Friday's game of Creighton and Kansas. Let me just say that. Creighton is a phenomenal baseball team. Kansas is a phenomenal baseball team. Arkansas arguably has been one of the best baseball teams all year long. They can hit, they can pitch. You're playing down there. There's pressure there on Dave Van Horn. And I say that positively in the sense that I think Arkansas is going to come out wanting to kick some ass and not screw around. But you could want to do that all you want. Creighton and Kansas can play baseball. I'm interested. Minus 450 is a big number here. These are good baseball teams, man. And Jay-Z Soldier asks, what book has the region's winners? Pretty much almost all of them. If you go to, I use DraftKings. If you go to DraftKings, click college baseball and click team futures. All right. You'll be able to pick regional winners, teams to make the College World Series, etc. So I think most of them have them, but I got this from DraftKings. So Bowman, your thoughts here? Because I agree with Chad. Creighton and Kansas. I mean, Creighton's won. I think both these teams won 40+ games. Like these are very good. And Creighton did it in Omaha. You know what I mean? They did it at Charles Schwab. That ain't a little park either. Yeah. What do you see here, man?
Yeah, and so I do believe every book has the region's winners. I have heard some states don't have them, though, so that might be something to look out for, and I don't know why, so don't ask me, but but I have heard that some states don't have them. But yeah, in terms of this regional, I love Arkansas. I have a future on them from before the season. I think they're the best team in the nation. I still don't think they should be minus 450 here. That's insane, especially with the last 2 years, the way they've gone. They've had home regionals each of the last 2 years. People have thought, this is one of the best teams in the nation, and then they lay an egg in both regionals. So with their history, it worries me. Kansas, I think they got a little shafted with this regional too. Kansas is a really good team. They can beat anyone. Creighton, unbelievable, non-power conference team. They can really hit. They can really pitch. I think that Kansas Creighton game is going to be unbelievable. But this is also one of those. North Dakota State's one of the worst teams in regionals. So I don't think Arkansas will have a problem with them whatsoever. But Kansas and Creighton are going to have to battle. They're going to go to war. They're going to use a lot of pitching in that matchup where Arkansas is not going to use any. So I think that could end up being the difference for Arkansas. I like Arkansas in this regional. I don't like that number at all.
You know what? I was about to say the exact same thing. The reason that number is because Friday is going to be a damn war between Creighton and Kansas, right? It is. And Arkansas is not going to have to throw anybody. That's it right there. It's just such an advantage for Arkansas. But again, Chad said it best too. Hey, we've seen it before, man. Like, it is not a chalk city out here. So, all right, those are the regionals. We'll hit the picks one more time. We'll get out of here. We didn't want the show to be too terribly long. Now, I did want to highlight something real quick, and we won't break it down, but just so everybody has an idea of what it looks like. These are the potential super regional matchups if just the host teams won. I'm not saying that happens. I'm not saying it's all chalk. Just to get an idea. Vanderbilt and Southern Miss, Texas and UCLA, and super regionals would be it's a best of 2 of 3 series. All right, next weekend. So Vanderbilt, Southern Miss, Texas, UCLA, Arkansas and Tennessee, Auburn, Coastal Carolina, and the higher seed would host. So just because I have a team listed below, the higher seed would host. Auburn, Coastal Carolina, that would be fun. UNC and Oregon, that'd be fun. LSU and Clemson, that'd be something. Georgia and Ole Miss, SEC teams there, and Oregon State and Florida State. All right, let's hit the picks one more time, and then we'll hop out of here. Bowman, break it down. What you got?
Yeah, Vanderbilt and Tennessee to win their regionals parlayed. I think those are 2 of the easier regionals. Ole Miss to win their regional. Like I said, I'm a bit worried about their hitting, but their pitching is so good that they can make it through this style. Cincinnati on the money line. I think they're more than capable of winning this game with their ace and Nathan Taylor. Oklahoma State, I guess AB and I are going against each other here, but whoever wins that game could definitely make a run. Oklahoma State is great pitching staff. Kansas State, I think plus money, they're more than worth a shot. Either they show up or they don't, but if they show up, they're one of the best teams in the nation. And then UC Irvine against Arizona State. I think Irvine's just a good team. I don't think they should be underdogs here, and I think they're more than capable of winning that regional. So we'll go Irvine as well.
I'm with you there. And these are all the money lines that you see. These are all game ones that'll be played on Friday. I've got UCLA money line on Friday and NC State money line on Friday, -125. Duke money line and Clemson money line +125. Going Nebraska, baby, +200. Taking Oklahoma out, boy. Let's get it there. And then Louisville on the money line at -125. And then I've got Florida State to win their regional, Oregon State to win their regional, UC Irvine to win their regional, Clemson to win their regional, Arkansas and Oregon parlayed to win their regionals, Texas and LSU parlayed to win their regionals, and then North Carolina and Vanderbilt parlayed to win their regionals. All right, Bowman, dude, great job as always. So good to see you. Any final thoughts before we get out of here, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, excited for the weekend. This is, like I said, in my opinion, one of the best weekends of the year, if not the best weekend. It's a lot of fun, a lot of chaos going on, games at all times. So, we got to enjoy it.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's awesome. Like, it's just like March Madness in basketball, but it's baseball. It's awesome. So on Friday, you'll see there are going to be 2 games played at each regional host. It's generally 12 p.m., 6 p.m. West Coast gets a little different, right? They'll go, mid-afternoon and night, but depending on where you're at. But, dude, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. Bowman, man, absolutely crushed it. So good to see you again. And everybody, make sure follow our man on all the socials, Twitter at John Bowman 11, TikTok and Instagram at Baseball with Bowman. And he doesn't just do college baseball. My man worked Major League Baseball as well. He is a stud with MLB picks, and you can find all those at Dub Club. Just search John Bowman, and you will find it. Father Whale, appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you, Soldier. Absolutely crushed it. All right, man. Let's get out of here. Everybody, best of luck. to cash these tickets. We'll see you the starter regionals on Friday. Can't wait. See you.
Who's got it better than us? No!